Hi Charlie, hi Morton. Morton, hello again. We know each other, but Charlie, I've not worked with you or met you. Morton and I work together at HSBC, and this is just a short video just to introduce myself to you. So the career achievement I'm most proud of is a digital leadership program that I put together during the time that I was Global People Director for iProspect. The reasons I'm most proud of it, if I kind of think about the business first of all, this was a business that had needed to upsell its products. We found that most of our clients only bought one product, up to 75% of our clients only bought one product, despite the fact they had a whole multitude of tools. The reason I'm most proud of this program was, first and foremost, it busted a lot of myths about how people learn digitally. We were able to scale it right the way across the world with the help of Google and Facebook, so we had an audience of 150 people working wholly collaboratively, even though they were spread as far as wide as India, Australia, Asia, America and the UK. They actually were able to learn what we needed them to learn, more about the products that we had, and so therefore they obviously gained more knowledge. Through that, they gained massive amounts of confidence for themselves as leaders, not only of their own teams but also of their client accounts. And they brought that to bear to actually achieve some of those objectives, whereby we saw client billings increase. In some countries where we were having really horrendous labour attrition, we saw that drop off by up to 10%. But I think the thing that I'm most proud of is those participants who were successful on the programme and we achieved an 85% pass rate. I still hear from them today, even though this programme ran 3 years ago. I still hear about how they've taken that newfound knowledge and skills that they learned purely digitally, that they were able to apply that to themselves and they've grown their careers. But most importantly, what they've been able to do is to be able to take digital learning, to take just-in-time learning delivered to them through all sorts of different digital media, and be able to carry on learning in that way. But most importantly, they've also been able to apply it to the new teams that they've gone on to lead or the new organisations that they work in. So the failure that you asked me to talk about was perhaps at my time at HSBC, and there I think the need to engage multiple stakeholders. I didn't perhaps spend enough time doing that, and the impact of that was that when solutions were put together, when they'd initially been accepted by perhaps the learning and development team and maybe the people I worked most closely with, it was them being able to present them in an engaging way to the audience. I hadn't done that early enough, which meant that I had to do an awful lot more work than I'd imagined later on. What I've learned from that clearly is the need to consult with the widest range of stakeholders, know who they are, get them on board earlier and make sure that they're kept informed all the way through. This is something that I did learn from when I was at HSBC and got much better at, but it's something I need to pay more attention to. So I regularly try and take my inspiration outside the field of learning and development, and I think the most recent thing I was privileged enough to go and see was the recent exhibition by Anthony Gormley at the Royal Academy of Arts, where they staged a showcase of his work. What I love about Gormley is he takes the everyday things that we see around us on an everyday basis and really shakes them up and puts them into a whole different perspective, whereby you immerse yourself into his work of art. And by immersing yourself, you start to see the perspective that maybe he was trying to get. And from that, what I've taken is that the obvious isn't always the answer. And perhaps we need to look beyond that and look at the answer from a number of different perspectives. So the strengths I bring to a team are absolutely enthusiasm by the shed load. Great believer in collaboration, so I believe that solutions always come better from more than one head. I bring a massive amount of energy to the team, and really it's important to me to make sure that everybody is on board. But ultimately, the thing that I really think I bring to the team is a drive to get things done, to turn that ideas in concept into reality and deliver results. What would my best friend say about me? Well, I think she would say that I'm a really good listener. And by that, it's not necessarily that I just listen endlessly to what she's got to say, but I listen to what she's got to say and I listen for the feeling behind what she's saying, and try and help people make sense of those feelings when perhaps the answer isn't clear. The feedback that I've always had from my friends is that I'm able to listen, to challenge appropriately, and help them to think through multitudinous answers to a single question. So this last question about my worst enemy, that was a bit of a tough one because it was hard to think of who my enemies were, but I'm sure there are people who I annoy and don't like me. Probably the most annoying things, and this feedback I get from my daughters who aren't my enemies, but they're pretty honest about the feedback that they give me, is that perhaps I overcommit, I try and get too much done in a day, and also I have a real difficulty in sitting still.